Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to another episode of Intuitive Creators Spotlight. Here we have amazing guests who share their stories that are so inspiring for the world because every story matters. Their stories are exceptional because it helped them in their journey, the personal journey and business journey too. Today we have Este, who is a coach and a guide for those who are ready to work on their limiting beliefs and emotional traumas. As a result of that, they get to experience amazing results. And Este will be talking to us about all of these things. I'm Stella, your host, and welcome to this series. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe to the channel to stay updated with the newest videos. Hi, Este. I'm super happy to have you here today with us.
Hi, Stella. Thank you so much for having me. It's very exciting to be here with you today.
I am so happy to just create the space for you to share your story with everyone who's watching us. And I know that in your work, you really work with the inner world first, and you talk about the transformation that happens from inside. What does that mean to you? And when did this kind of idea start for you, or the realization that the transformation needs to happen from within?
Wow, that's such a good question. Thank you. This question goes kind of right into the middle of things, like where where this comes from really is. So one of the things is that I grew up in communist socialist Hungary, and as such, what I saw there is that people were not the masters of their destiny. But I was not going to live like that. And I was hell bent on figuring out from a very young age, like from 11 years old, I think was the first time I ever read a spiritual personal development book. And so I was hell bent on figuring out how this reality works and how I get to be the master of my destiny. So this interest has been there for a very long time. In this journey of development, I thought that manifestation, like creating your life and being the master of your destiny, that meant to have like goals that you choose. And I was not aware that there is another way to choose goals and purpose in life other than thinking from my conscious mind. So and so as such, like I kept thinking from my conscious mind, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to create that, I want to create that. And I had these different experiences in life, and it always took me so far, but never, it was never that either I had partial results or it broke down somewhere in the middle. So I could never like kind of get there. I In hindsight, I see that I self-sabotaged a lot. But how it lived for me then is that like I use my conscious mind, my conscious awareness, like think up things of what I want to create my life to be like, and then I create it to be like that. Like this is what I thought how it is. And then it took some really huge breakdown in my life to realize that that's not how it works, that it starts from within. As responding to your question, that creation, it's creating your life the way you want it to be, and creating whatever it is that you want. Is it happiness, is it peace, is it relationship, is it, whatever it is that you want to create, it starts from within. That we have to create that first within. And so this thing that happened to me, I've been really successful, had a really amazing, huge, big job as a coach, actually, through life coaching, personal and professional training, coaching, and development company in London. And it was a manager leadership position. And, I was talking to 200 people, 300, 500 people at a time, but I also did one-to-one coaching there. And it was a big, huge, amazing job. And I worked about 70 hours a week. And after that, I had a huge burnout. Like, it was a corporate structure. It was a multinational worldwide company. So it had like a corporate structure. And after 3 days, 3 years, 3 to 4 years. So I'm saying 3 to 4 because the first year I was volunteering a lot and trained to be a coach. And then they offered me a job. They came to me, offered me a job, and then the next 3 years I spent working for them. And so then I had this huge burnout, and then I tried to go back to running creative businesses, and those weren't working because I was still trying to get over this burnout that happened to me. It was really, really difficult. And I started living off of credit cards and sofa surfing, staying at friends' places. And eventually I got to the point where I was homeless and completely broke and heartbroken and really ashamed and very, very frustrated and very, very sad. So I called that time the dark night of my soul. I was going through that. And this was the experience. This was that low point, that biggest breakdown. I don't wish for anybody. But this was the event that actually taught me that it's not the outside of things, it's the inside of things that we need to focus on. So that it's not so what I mean by that is that it's what we want to create in life. It's not even, it cannot be just a thing that we think of, that we think out from our conscious mind, from our egoic mind, from our conscious awareness. It's deeper than that. It's the things that the creator themselves put into our hearts. And those are the deep seeds of desire that the creator put there, that are in alignment with who we are as a spiritual being having a human experience, and who we are meant to be in this world, in alignment with all, in alignment with the great flow of the universe. And so those are the desires. That is the inside of things. And so then one other thing I want to say about that is, so when I was thinking about things like what I want to create, and thinking of things from my mind, like, and there was various things throughout my life. Like, first I wanted to be a singer. And so then I went after that, and I went to Denmark on a scholarship, and I studied music, and and I was in bands, and I recorded my music and all of that. And then I moved to London because I thought, oh, this is the place from where I get to be a world famous singer. Like, it's not going to happen from Hungary, because nobody ever done that. So it has to be from London. This was many years ago. The internet wasn't like it is now back then. And then later on, then I decided, oh, like, modeling is much easier for me than singing, because in modeling there's no lines to remember and there's no stage fright. So let me do modeling. And then after that, it was art. So there were all these creative businesses, these attempts to manifest creative businesses, but all of those I was focusing on the outside of it, like like the picture of, like, this is how I want it to look like, and this is how I want it to go, rather than, okay, but what's the inside of that thing? What is it that it will give me if I have that? Like, what's that feeling? What's the feeling? What's the experience that I'm looking for?
I love that question. What's the experience that I'm looking for? And as you're sharing the question, it just totally feels like it's coming from your heart and from your soul. So as you understood that this is the question you want to look at, what were some of the understandings that started coming to you? So for example, if you're in a junction of your life and you're asking yourself, what's the experience that I'm looking for? What kind of answer do you know you need to receive in order to understand that this next step is for you?
Right. So focus on the inside of things. So just having that self-awareness and that maturity to go, okay, so like firstly, for me personally, it before I could know what were these deepest desires in my heart that was in complete alignment with the flow of the universe, in complete alignment with what the creator created me to be in this world, like what's my true nature and purpose, that is like my soul purpose, my soul mission, like why am I here in this world, what my life is for. So before knowing that, I had to completely give up wanting. But I wouldn't recommend to everyone to completely give up wanting, because you might want to do that or you might not, and it's not necessary for everybody. It was just my personal journey, that I just had to go through a period of time where I had to give up wanting, because all of this wanting was coming from my mind, and uh, and it just wasn't working. And at that point, when I was at this low point, I was so lucky to meet a self-made Dragon's Den multimillionaire who invited me to hang out with her. And she said to me, yes, manifestation is all about vibration and the energy. But the key is, Este, you have to stop resisting what's so and surrender. So meaning that before I could know this, what is it that I actually want? Like my true self, like who is this, who wants that thing? Like that was another question. Like, okay, I want X. Okay, but who is this I? Who is this I that wants the stuff? Like even that wasn't, because how we relate to ourselves. I mean, for me, right? For until that point, I was relating to myself like little old me, this bodysuit and this history of since I was born, and the things that I thought about and the things that happened to me throughout my life and the way that I wound up being, and this person called Este, right? And but who is this I who is wanting? So I had to just stop, right? For me, it was surrender. I had to just stop, surrender to the circumstances. In other words, I had to realize that I know I'm a bit further away from what you asked me, but I'm getting there. So I knew that I had to just stop, and especially that I had nothing to lose. So when I met this Dragon's Den multimillionaire who said to me, you just gotta surrender to what's so right now and stop resisting to what's so. So that was very counterintuitive, very, very counterintuitive, because every cell of my body wanted to fix my situation. And that's how our entire society works, by the way. This is the way that we are raised. Like it's almost, we can't even imagine not complaining in our head about something, consciously or unconsciously, but there's always that resistance of, this is not good, I want to fix that, I want to fix that about my life, my circumstances, my past, myself, I have to change this, I have to fix this, this is not good enough, this is not good enough. There's always something that's not good enough. And so she said to me, but you have to stop resisting, you have to just stop, surrender to what's so. So I was like, okay, all right, how do I do this, right? So then I went into this for about a year. I was just in surrender, and I was like, okay, I surrender to these circumstances. What are they teaching me? What is the universe trying to show me? What is the universe trying to reflect back to me? What is inside of me that is mirroring this back to me? And then I stopped, and then even longer, I stopped wanting, and I was just like, okay, so I'm just waiting for the unfolding of, I'm really ready to know what my life is for. I'm really ready to know what am I here for on this planet, without the wanting from the egoic mind.
Actually answered it so beautifully, because
Right?
you have answered it so beautifully, at least in my from my angle,
Okay.
from my perception, because you just said that you know, when you're asking yourself, like, what is it that you're looking for, or what kind of
What's the
experience that you're
experience?
looking for, you understood at some point that you have to surrender and you have to ask yourself what you're learning from these experiences and then move forward from there. So it is such a beautiful feeling because just as you're talking about it, you know, I could just feel that you went from, hey, you know, I will stop like pushing and forcing and working from that place of like, I must do, and go from there to, okay, I understand this is the human experience. You have to do certain things as human on this planet, while at the same time allowing your soul to go through the journey. And thank you so much for sharing this, because this is incredible. And to everyone who's watching us, please check out the description of this video, because Este does a lot of incredible things. So you may want to check out her description and products and services, and also the free event or service that she's sharing with everyone, freebie, if you wish. It will be there in the description of this video. Now, Este, I know that you mentioned in your on your website and in your text and everything that you're sharing that emotional wounds can manifest in this reality as physical pain. How did you understand that through your own experiences in life?
So one of my miracle healing, one of my miracle healings was I had a real problem with my ankle, actually with both of them, but eventually just one of them. So this has been going on since I was maybe 14 years old or so, and since I was 14 until like last year, I would twist my ankle like once a year to once every 2 years. So let's say once every 1.5 years, I would twist one of my ankles. And so I had like this really problem, like really weak ankles. And you know, it's not so bad that you can't live with it, because like once every by the time it happens again 1.5 years later, you kind of forgot about it, but then it happens again. And it was just like, you know, what is this, like why is this happening? So I went after it to try and understand, okay, so what is my body trying to say to me? And probably, I don't know if you know, or the lovely audience who watches this video perhaps heard about Louise Hay, very famous lady. And I think she wrote a book about when the body speaks, or something like that. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was her basic idea that when something happens in your body, that is actually your body trying to tell you something about something, some emotional trauma, or something that is unresolved in your past that you are not paying attention to. And this thing is trying to call your attention to that thing that you have been trying to ignore and push down for all of these years. But we are not taught that this is how the body works. We are not taught that everything that's in the body is actually psychosomatic. And you know, like when this thing kept happening with my ankles, like the normal route, which I've done for 10 years, 20 years, was to, you know, deal with it when it happens, and deal with it in an allopathic medicine way. And so go to the doctor, and they take a x-ray, and they say, okay, nothing too bad happened. Or they say, okay, we need to put it in a cast or whatever. Or they say, okay, nothing too bad happened, you have to start working on it, go home, like put your feet up and rest, and then it's going to get better. Just rest and it's going to get better. And so there was just no way out of this. And this is only one of the things. That was another thing that I was also dealing with, but it was way before. Well, not before, but anyway. But this is not the only thing I dealt with. Just want to put that out there. but this was the thing that took the longest to figure out, like, so what is this like? And so I started asking, so what is my body trying to tell me? What is my body trying to show me? What is this? Is there something that happens that happened when I was younger that I wasn't paying attention to, that is an unresolved trauma? And and then I started realizing that, okay, so when did this first happen? And as I said, I was around 14 years old, and I'm like, oh, okay. So the very first time this happened was I was about to go and take an exam. And I was really, really nervous about the exam. And the day before the exam, I went to play volleyball with my friends on the beach. And that's when I first twisted my ankle. And so that was already a clue for me about what this original trauma may be, but it was a lot deeper than that. So so I just kept asking myself these questions. So is it that? Is it that? Is it that? And it took a few years and a few different people to work with who were specialists in actually helping you to go after the story. What is the story? What is the emotional trauma? And so for me, in my case, it turned out that I was even carrying some of the trauma of my mom, not only my own. And because I think the right ankle is, if you look it up online, right ankle equals like something about your mom, basically. Like I can't remember I can't even remember what it was now. But yeah, it's these unresolved emotional wounds, whether and sometimes it's not even just your own. Maybe sometimes you're carrying something, because emotional trauma gets passed down 7 generations. So you are carrying stuff that you don't even know that you're carrying, and then at some point something goes wrong with your body, and then you're gonna be suddenly like, okay, what is this? Where is this coming from? And maybe it's not even yours, or maybe part of it is yours. Like in my case, it was both. And so eventually, this was the miracle healing in 2023. That 2023 was a really pivotal year for me, because that was when I decided, okay, I'm done with this. I am done with this. I'm gonna heal this. That's it. So this was on the summer solstice. I managed to go to a stone circle in Cornwall, and I was just sitting there meditating at that stone circle. And I went into this deep meditative state, and I was kind of maybe praying even, but I was sure that I was done with this. And I was just talking to my body and asking my body to please show me what can I do to heal this. And one of the things that came to me was shoes. What shoes am I wearing? Am I cut off from the earth constantly? And so I started wearing barefoot shoes, and also I started wearing grounding shoes, like with copper inside of them, so that I get to stay connected to the earth constantly. And that was a huge help, but that was just part of it, because that wasn't the healing was my intention. Then the message I got, and following that up with action. And then there was also intuition, which it was the same night. So I went home from this stone circle, and that night my ankle was especially painful, and it was still like in the middle of recovering from something that happened. That was the worst it ever got. I hurt my right ankle like 2 years before this. So in 2021, I hurt my right ankle, and it did not heal completely all the way into 2023 until I went to the stone circle, and I went home. And so it's in the evening, and I'm sitting on my bed, and my ankle is really painful, and I hobble on it, and I can't really stand on it. And I'm just like, oh, like what? And so I start massaging my ankle, and I never thought about touching my ankle with my hands before that point ever. So I'm like touching my ankle, I'm like massaging, and at some point I feel like, oh, this is a really painful point. And so I just pressed it one more time to check how painful it was. And as I pressed it, and then I pressed it one time, and I was like, ow, ow. So then I was massaging, and then I found another point that was really, really painful. So I pressed the other point, and then all my pain was gone. And since then, I had no problem. Since then, I had no problem. So this is what I mean, that it is trauma, and this is the way to actually heal yourself. Completely possible.
I can absolutely resonate with this because, of course, unless you have like an emergency or God forbid, an accident or something, of course you have to go to the doctors and go through different procedures. But
they are very good at putting people back together.
Yeah, but like you shared with your example, sometimes you just have these symptoms, and the symptoms are messages that our body is trying to transmit to us. And thank you for sharing this, because this is the type of story that we all need to hear, especially when we go through some sort of physical pain, to understand that we have so much more power than we are made to believe we have. Because a lot of the times you may just be told, oh, you just have to go and take a whatever medicine, a painkiller or whatever, and just the pain will go away. Yes, it will go away for a moment, but what about that deeper healing? And yes, when we talk about generations in the past, sometimes we're not even aware like that this is coming from somewhere else. And it takes intention to want to go there. And now I know, Este, that you work a lot with the idea of consciously creating life. What does this mean for you and for your clients that you're working with?
What that means is that, well, we are always creating our lives, but most of the times we are not conscious of it. And I'm saying we can get conscious of it, and we can consciously create our lives, meaning to come from a place where we get to actually say how our life goes, but not from that mind space that I described at the beginning of this interview, because that's not what I mean, right? That's not what I mean. Consciously creating, including the body, the healing miracle that I just described, right? And also consciously creating your life. As you can see from the healing example, it's not just all up here at all, not at all, because where your unconscious is where your body is, and you have like these different levels of your consciousness: the conscious mind, and the unconscious mind, and the superconscious. And when you try to consciously create something, like manifest something precisely, with precision, on purpose, but coming from your heart, from those deep desires, like the stuff that's completely in alignment with all, and in more like an unfolding way. So it's not just up here, right? It takes, because we are these triune beings, we are these beings with these different levels of consciousness, including our physicality, including our bodies. So consciously creating, to me, means to engage all of our faculties, all of what it means to be a human being. It's not just thinking up things from up here, from conscious ego mind, and I want this, and I want a car, and I click my finger and I think my way, just think about it, and the car will show up in front of my house. No, that's not how that's not how consciously creating your life works, unfortunately, because this reality has physicality, and it is an illusion, but it's also very, very real. Because why I'm saying it's an illusion is because this reality is much more like a holographic projection than solid, but we are really used to relating to it like it's all really, really solid. But if you look at it under an electron microscope, if you look at the table or anything under an electron microscope, you will see that it's nothing and just energy vibrating at different speeds and different frequencies. And that's what this realities that seem so very, very solid, and it's not. But I mean, the solidity of reality is an illusion, but it is, in another way, it's very, very real. We have physicality, like we have these flesh suits, and they're really amazing. They're amazing construction, like an amazing design, that carries our soul in this reality. And so this is why I'm saying creating your life is using all of your faculties, your conscious mind, your unconscious, your heart, your intuition, your superconscious genius, and your physicality as well. Like, aligned action needs to happen, and it's almost like one without all the others just not really quite working, just not quite really is going to do it. Like in the case of the example that I shared with you about my healing, like that took meditation, getting into the quantum field. When you meditate and you enter the present moment and you get to enter stillness and just completely just being and no thinking, right, then you get to enter the quantum field, and that is the possibility of all possibilities. The quantum field, that's what it is. So then from there you can create anything consciously. You can go there and be like, okay, I'm done with this thing. So and this is the other possibility, the other reality that I'm choosing. So there's this reality. Yes, my ankle is painful. This is the current reality. And I go into this quantum field, and then it's like, I have this reality where I have a painful ankle. I acknowledge that it sucks. And then there's this reality where I have a healthy ankle. I choose that. Okay, great, right. Okay, thank you so much, right? And then you go about your life, and then your superconscious, your intuition will give you messages. And your job then is to follow those messages and follow it up with action. Like if you get an idea after that, then you just gotta honor that idea and take the action that the idea is telling you to take. So that way you get to consciously create your reality, like being conscious of that deep desire, that who is this me, and what is my true nature and purpose, what is my life for, what is it that when I choose to create, it's like I'm creating this thing because I love it, because it's in my heart to create this thing. And then you get to precisely create that, versus most people, most of us, like for example, when I made myself homeless, because I take 100% responsibility, right? Radical responsibility is part of this process as well. But when I made myself homeless, that was an unconscious creation. I created that, but I created that unconsciously. Like I wasn't conscious that I was creating that. I wasn't conscious that I had these patterns in my unconscious mind, these deeply held beliefs that are not even like I have these beliefs, but they are like I am these beliefs. These beliefs, like I am that, I am that, I am that I'm not good enough, I am that I'm not worthy, I am that I can't make this work, right? I am that money doesn't grow on trees. I am that, like, if I don't work hard, I don't get to earn any money. Like all of these things. It's not like we have these beliefs. We are that, but we are not conscious of it unless, like in my case, this thing happens and it's unwanted. Whatever happens to you and it's unwanted, and you're looking at it, and you just have to accept, okay, so what is inside of me that created this reality, right? So then in that case, you all the things that you don't want to have in your life, you unconsciously created those things. So that's just, I just want to make that contrast, like to define conscious creation from the opposite of it. So the opposite of it is unconscious creation. That's usually when you just end up with things and you don't know how you got there. That's unconscious creation. It happens all the time. Everything that surrounds you in your life right now, you created it all. You are a very powerful creator.
Wow. And I love that message, a very powerful message too. And wow, just wow with how you described what consciously creating life means and how it works, and then how important it is to develop this language with the universe and with these different realities, and how you then listen to the signs and okay, now you turn right, I mean intuitively, and now stop for a bit and then talk to this person. And like this takes time to understand that there is communication with ourselves, with the world around us, with certain energies, with circumstances. There is always communication and connection. And I'm so grateful that you described all of this in such a beautiful way. Now, before we wrap up this episode, Este, would you like to share with everybody who's watching us if you're working on something exciting, anything that you'd like to invite everyone in, maybe in your space in some way to work with you? And also, if you want to share a message as we're ending this episode with everyone who's watching us to inspire or just to share a thought from your heart, what would that message be?
Yeah, thank you. So I have a membership called the Conscious Creator Academy, where I help people to be the conscious creator of their lives in this way that I have just shared with you all. Because it's one thing to talk about this with someone who so gets it as Stella does, but it's a whole other thing to actually implement this in your everyday life. It's like you might remember it now that we are talking about it, and then like the next moment it's kind of gone and you're back to the old way of being, of unconsciously creating, just getting along with things and trying to fix things and complain about things in your head. So the membership, the Conscious Creator Academy, is literally for having to have you be in a structure where you get to really become the conscious creator of your life. And it takes it takes a little bit of time to actually let go and unplug from those emotional wounds that you've been hiding all this time, or just pushing down, not even conscious of it, and and to really create the life that you truly love. So it's the Conscious Creator Academy. And I have 2 free offers at the moment. So I don't know, Stella, which one we should share, but one of them is a manifestation ebook. It is called The Science of Manifesting, and it describes how quantum physics works, but in a very simple, easy to understand way. It's not rocket science. It's described in a really simple way, so that we get to understand that it's like this is the actual scientific nature of the world, and how we can use that, and how we can use that in manifesting what we want. And what does that mean? What does quantum physics mean about the nature of being a human being? And how come that you get to manifest exactly what you would like from the point of view of quantum physics, that I can prove to you that the woo-woo was right all along, because quantum physics got to what the woo-woo was saying all along. So this is what my ebook is about. It's very short. It's only 20 pages, so not to worry. And then there is another one, which is a video, which is a masterclass, an on-demand masterclass. I forget what it's called, but it's a manifestation masterclass, obviously, where you get to experience a superconscious recode. Because we didn't even mention that I'm superconscious recode expert, which is a rapid recode modality, which is designed to reach your unconscious and easily and quickly recode all of that resistance, which is in people's ways when we are trying to create something new, and our unconscious resists, because our unconscious is actually, the job of our unconscious is to keep us safe. So whenever we are trying to create something new, our unconscious thinks, I don't know that thing, So I don't think it's safe. So we're just going to keep doing what is safe. Like this is literally how the brain works. Again, science. This is neuroscience, right? This is neuroscience and psychology. Again, totally science-based manifestation method, which takes into account how your consciousness works. And so the superconscious recode is working with your, actually, it's working with your memory systems. I'm just going to leave it at that because there's a lot more about it. And if you'd like to find out about it, then there is the on-demand masterclass, which I can offer. So I don't know, which one do you think we should offer?
We'll just share the link in the comments to your website and to
Okay.
some other links, direct links to all of these amazing things. And everybody who's watching us will be able to check them out. And if you were to share a message with everyone who's watching us, what would you like to share? A thought, an idea, something that comes from your heart?
Anything is possible. I want people to know that really, 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 anything is possible, really. And you can have anything that you want, and you can be anything that you are. Success is not personal. It is structural. It's not about you. You can have anything that you want, and you can be anything that you are. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to change you. You get to be exactly the way that you are and have what you want. And this is, by the way, what happens in the Conscious Creator Academy and with the Superconscious Recode. That's the basis of it. But yes, you can have anything that you want, and you can be anything that you are. Completely possible.
Thank you so much, Este, for your presence here today. Thank you for all the stories and the thoughts and the ideas that you shared with us. A lot of thought-provoking questions, ideas that you shared as well. And I'm very grateful for that. And thank you to everyone who has been watching this episode. Don't forget to let us know what you think, like this video, and subscribe to this channel. And I can't wait to see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Bye.